One of the most difficult rank jumps in Rocket League is from Diamond up to Champ. And what I've noticed from coaching a lot of the players around this rank is that there's a lot of simple mistakes that are simply holding us back from achieving our full potential. So in today's video, we'll be breaking down some Diamond gameplay to show you guys some simple things that you can incorporate into your own game that can help you be a bit more successful. And even if you don't find yourself in Diamond yet, or even if you're above Diamond, there's honestly a lot of mistakes in here that are still made by players in the Grand Champ ranks. And real quick before we do get started, if any of you are interested in having one of your own replays analyzed, make sure you do check out my Discord, which will be linked down in the description, as I do offer free coaching through there. So this is where awareness is really key, right? And like as a higher rated player, what I generally do is I pay attention to where the other players are going at all times. So like on this kickoff, I'm already seeing that East back there is going here. So what that means, if he's going there, when the ball goes that way, there's not going to be any blue players over here, but there is going to be somebody back around the net fairly quickly since East is grabbing the boost in the corner. So I'm already aware of the fact that somebody is going to be pretty far back in this play. As I'm flipping this way, I'm listening to hear if I hear anybody jump, because if I do, I can assume that that's the player who just got full boost jumping across the field towards this wall. Highly unlikely that that actually happens, but I am listening for it. And then when I pick up this boost, I am just eyeing down the field to see what the situation is. Because when I look down the field, I see this guy all the way back here. So what that tells me is unless I have enough control of the ball and my car to either start an air dribble or go to the backboard here, getting any touch going that way is almost always just going to give the ball away to this guy. Like maybe our teammate goes for the bump, but looking at his car position, not that you would be doing this in this moment, but he's already pointed back this way, so he is not going to be going for any kind of bump here. So the second I see him all the way back here, if the only play I can make on this wall is just booming it, you know, forward in that direction, I honestly might just turn back down the wall, let the ball come back down, and try to establish control along the ground, as opposed to going for this first time touch, because even if you do get it, all you're going to be doing is just giving the ball directly to East. And this can become quite dangerous because, again, look at where your teammate is. If you drop this ball, let's say you hit it to right here, your teammate now has to scramble back. Meanwhile, this guy can run on, and he's probably not going to score it at this rank, but he does have an opportunity for a wide open net. So be careful of touches like that. If your teammate's ahead of you and you don't really have a great option, it's okay to just take it slow and like just buy time to get support back behind you. Right here then, a big thing that's important for players to learn is that it's sometimes okay to slow down. You're going to have a couple moments in this game where you do play nice and slow, but there's also quite a few moments where you're just kind of flying around the field at supersonic for not a whole lot of reason. So teammate, ideally, probably should have scored this. He doesn't. Again, I'm looking at how this play is developing to determine where I'm going to go. Because if my teammate isn't here, then yeah, I'm going to go this way to get ready for the ball to bounce along the wall. But if I see my teammate continuing to commit over to that area, there is very little reason for me to also be over here. Because if my teammate gets a touch on the ball, he's going to try to get it back into the midfield. If he gets challenged over here by one of the opponents, the chances of the ball staying along this wall are pretty unlikely. So what I would recommend here is staying in what I like to call a more neutral position. And what I mean by that is a position on the field where you can cover multiple different options, as opposed to being locked into one thing. So, like, you're in a pretty good spot right now. If you had just, like, seen teammate and slowed down around here and just started kind of coasting, you could just hang out around this area and wait to see how the play develops. Because from here, if the ball goes back to the midfield, you can turn and cover that. You might not be able to, you know, jump on it, sure, but you're able to have an impact in that play. If the ball stays along the wall, you can still handle that as well, because you're right there. If the ball comes, you know, in this area, you're right there for that too. The problem with being all the way over here, though, right, is you now have this coverage, sure, but if the ball goes anywhere to the right, you now have to track right back from where you came from, which is just a bunch of wasted movement, and can oftentimes lead to you being beaten to a ball by the opponent because they're simply in a better position than you are. Here's another really important lesson that I see all the time. In fact, like, this is super common even at the higher ranks. Again, talking about slowing down. So, at any given moment, we always assess the threat level of a play. There is zero threat here. Yeah, there's no opponents, there's no nothing. This is a completely free ball for my teammate. So what that tells me immediately is, okay, I have zero reason why I need to be back in net. I don't need to be here. What we want to be able to develop is an ability to maintain momentum all around the field. Like, we very rarely want to hit the brakes and come to a dead stop if we can at all help it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to try to direct my movement to ensure that I just keep moving. So I'm probably going to kill my supersonic at this point because I don't need to be going this fast. I'm going to slow myself down. I'm going to take a wider rotation in towards the net here. So instead of going where you go, directly back post and then, into the middle, I'm going to probably swing from this pad, like, all the way out here. And, like, I'm still going to keep assessing. If there's no danger, I'm still going to, keep heading out. But I want to be back more like this instead of there, because now I'm coming forward with momentum. So now, when this happens, I have momentum going forward, I have a little bit more space, and this is a whole heck of a lot easier to jump up to and get the touch and clear it out. But instead, you were kind of caught flat-footed here, so then you moved forward, but now the ball is really awkwardly right above you, and your only real play is to jump up and just get whatever touch you can, because you can't let the ball go over you, or otherwise that's a goal. But now the ball is just kind of floaty, and we're not able to actually break out a defense, because we didn't set ourselves up for success in that kind of play. Be careful of challenges like this. These are tough because, like, do we have an opportunity that, like, maybe we could score this ball? I would agree it's possible. What I'm always aware of, though, is if my teammate dives, or even if my teammate's just ahead of me, my responsibility as the second man back on my team here is not necessarily to score. Like, if the opportunity presents itself, great. But my number one priority as second man at all times is to defend my net. So whatever decision I make, if it results in a goal, awesome. But it needs to pretty much always be based out of how do I keep my net as safe as possible. Unless, of course, you guys are desperate for goals at the end of the game. That's a different story. But like right here, we have a 1-goal lead. There's only half the game left. Your teammate is landing in their net with 0 boost. Both opponents are just sat there staring towards this ball. There is 0 chance that you're going to get this ball past them. It's just not going to happen. So all you're doing here is challenging them in their box, which is going to kick the ball out pretty aggressively off the wall, and now both you and your teammate are essentially in their net. This one's tough, because your teammate may or may not get this demo. If your teammate doesn't get this demo, though, unless, like, you're shooting this from midfield, like, most players from Diamond and up will be able to save most shots that are single touches from the midfield line. So, like, this isn't gonna be threatening to him. One technique that you can learn that can be very helpful is just the art of, like, just jumping up, managing your speed, letting the ball hit you, and then just essentially coming back down to the ground while the ball just falls in front of you and gaining control that way. So, like, just single jumping, letting the ball hit you, and then taking control from there. So, like, hitting the brakes at this point and letting the ball come to you. But also, you don't even need to jump here. Because, like, yes, maybe this demo happens. The fact of the matter is, if you can just catch this ball, this guy is landing over here. So then now we have options. If your teammate gets the demo, we just dribble the ball directly into their net for free. If your teammate doesn't get the demo, though, now we have something to play with. Now we have options because we have control of the ball. But instead, you kind of make a decision based off a hypothetical of, like, maybe this net's going to be open. So we just go for the first time shot. But then when the net's not open, this just now becomes basically a free ball for them, unfortunately. So, yeah, same kind of thing with that idea of neutral positions. We always want to try to keep our options as open as possible when it comes to, like, making catches on the ball, so that we can, keep the defense guessing. Because the second you're out of control of the ball, the defense no longer has to figure out what you're trying to do. Then all they have to do is read the trajectory and just hit the ball. Yeah, this is a really nice play. Like, look at how effective this is, right? So this is exactly what we're talking about with just forcing them, right? Like, you're here. You're not planning on jumping at this. But he doesn't know that, so he just goes and makes the touch. You didn't have to do anything. Now you get the boost for free, your teammate gets the ball, and you guys are set up. Unfortunately, I don't know what happens to him, but he doesn't actually end up shooting this. So, like, I don't know what happened, but, it's the right idea from you. Yeah, this one's painful. Don't try to force it, though, right? Like, yes, can you maybe backflip this into the net? Maybe. Sure. Chances of that, though, not necessarily high in terms of, like, actually putting a good enough shot on. You have a 1-goal lead with a minute left. You don't need to force this. You can just let the ball roll and drive with it and, like, just stay with it instead of trying to force this. Because, again, what did we say, right? You're last back here, so number one priority, not to score. Number one priority, defend the net. How do we do that? Well, don't try to force this. Then I haven't really talked much about the kickoff, but just be careful. Try as much as you can. I would initiate your flip a little bit earlier, just so you land a little bit earlier, but then on your adjustment, try everything you can to get the nose of your car into the middle of the ball, both height-wise as well as width-wise. Because what's going to happen here is you're a little bit low and you're a little bit to the right, and what that does is it just means the ball kicks really hard behind you and to the left, and high. So, like, yeah, look at how low you are, look at how to the right you are, and it just goes high to the left. If you're in the middle of that ball, like both height and width, you're going to have a much easier time in terms of, like, keeping the ball relatively neutral as well so that it's not a super volatile bounce. Ouch. Again, wider rotation will save you here. We don't need to be back in the net yet. Your teammate has a challenge. The chances of this ball going directly on target fast enough where we can't get there, probably unlikely. Just widen out literally about a car length more. And be like over here instead, because this is fine. That's easy. But because you turn, like, look at where you are in the net, you're in the middle. But now the ball is kind of aiming for, like, this back area here, which means your only chance of intercepting it is, like, catching it as it comes over you, as opposed to being able to attack into where it's going. Which is kind of the idea. We always want to be able to attack into the ball rather than having to just let it pass over us and hit it as it does so. Because that's a lot tougher of a play as opposed to being able to drive towards it. The big problem that you have here is the fact that you attack this ball with speed. When you want to control the ball, attacking with speed is almost always going to cause the ball to go fast away from your car, just because the faster you're going, the harder the contact is going to be with the ball. So look at how you use boost right here, and then you're going supersonic as you make contact. So, like, it's really difficult to catch a ball while going supersonic. So what you need to do here is just, like, recognize, look, as you're driving to this, all eyes are here. I honestly don't even need to look at this because all this ball is doing is falling towards the ground. That's cool. What dictates what I do with this is what he does. If he starts to come out here with speed, I need to play this ball a bit faster. If he, though, kills it and just hangs out around this area, I have the green light to slow myself down and make sure I get nice, solid control. So the second you identify that he's not coming out, so right around now, you know you win this ball. Easy. You can slow down. And then what I would do here is instead of then trying to cut the ball that way, we can roll the ball right onto this boost, pick that up, go to the backboard, and now he has to make a choice. Does he challenge here? Does he challenge here? What does he do? Because he doesn't know if you're capable of scoring from this position. And it's one thing that I would recommend to be able to practice, because especially at this rank, a lot of players won't challenge that because they just won't believe that you can do anything from there. So if you can learn to dish it in from the backboard, you're going to be able to score a lot of goals. But regardless, like, this is still a fine spot. Even if we, like, can't shoot it ourselves, we now get vision on, like, okay, what are you doing? Where's my teammate? Can I get a pass out? Do I just need to, like, play it to the opposite corner and let my teammate come in there? Like, you have options. You're chilling. But you kind of get rid of all your options when you just try to go directly at the net. And the ball just gets away from you. But the lack of control comes down to attacking the ball with too much speed. So, yeah, like, if you find the ball getting away from you, often just slow down on your approach, and you'll probably have a lot more success. I don't mind this play at all. This is the play that's actually going to cause you to lose the game. I am in the market of nothing is ever my teammate's fault. There's always something that I can do better. So, like, this play right here, this is great. This is fine. You pop it in the air, you pop it to the backboard, you got him caught in an awkward spot. That's all awesome. What you need to realize right in this exact moment, though, is, okay, I've just left this ball to the backboard. What that means is you are now telling your teammate, okay, you're going to come in for this. So if you want your teammate to come into the play, you need to get out of the play as fast as humanly possible in a spot like this. Because you currently are kind of just like on best case scenario. This is kind of a situation where you put this ball here and you're like, all right, my teammate should score that. My job is done. I don't really need to worry about anything. And you can kind of see that by how you move here. You land, you casually drive to the side, you casually drive to the boost, and that's like, oh crap, wait, the ball wasn't in. Oh no, and now you start to speed back up. If this is me, I'm like, all right, ball's off the backboard. If my teammate gets blocked or he misses, someone needs me back to be able to defend this. And it ain't going to be my teammate because I've just given him the pass. So when I hit this wall, first and foremost, land on all four wheels. As you're falling, I would probably argue that you should rotate your car so your nose points downwards. Just rotate 180 so you land facing towards the ground. So you can drive right off the wall. And then all you need to do here is land here. You drive off the wall. Look at all the boost pads that are right in front of you then. Just straight down this line you go. And you're just back in the play. So you'd land around the same time, but you'd be down the wall by around now at the latest. Right as teammates jumping in, you'd be here. Teammates shooting, you'd probably be back around here. And now look at how fine we are. Look. And now we're back. Now we're good. We can cut in and look at where they are. There's every opportunity that you can just go, oh, hey, cool, thanks. Ball, shot, goal, we win. Because they've just abandoned their net for the fun of it. But because you were so confident that your teammate was going to score, and kind of just, you know, not literally, but figuratively took your hands off the controller and said, all right, good enough, they now counterattack. And it's a wide open net because we didn't consider how to get back into the play fast enough. So even if it's the most open net on the face of the planet, your brain should always be going, okay, how do I recover out of this play? So that it just becomes muscle memory to recover and get back in supported positions as quickly as possible. Because even in the high ranks, I have seen some of the worst open net misses you can possibly imagine. And if you're playing for perfection and your teammate makes a mistake and you're not there to cover him, it's just as much on you as it is on them. Because everyone makes mistakes and you got to be available to cover for theirs. Just as much as you'd like them to be available to cover for yours. It is really important, especially at a rank like Diamond, that you simply operate based off of what your opponents give you. If you're trying to force things that aren't there, or go for plays that you don't need to go for, you very often just end up putting yourself and your team in a lot worse spot than you would have been if you simply just took what was available on the field. So make sure in your guys' own games you really do try to not overcomplicate things, not force things, and just try to keep things as simple as possible based on what you're actually seeing. And if you can do that, you give yourself a much better chance to be successful. Of course, thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you did enjoy it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, once again, if you're interested in some one-on-one coaching of your own, or perhaps you just like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, do feel free to check out my Discord, which is again linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.